Y'all, what's up? Welcome to the Truth Carpet season finale for season 4 with your best friend duo, Love Loud LLC. It is me, Monie, and I'm with my bestie.
Yaskis, welcome back, y'all. If you listened last week or a month ago, we're here.
We back. And we closing it out. I feel like every time we come to the season finale, it's just kind of like,
I can't believe it.
I can't, even though we've been doing this since February, every other week since February, and it has come to the 16th episode, coming to a close
For the 4th season.
for the 4th season, which means
That's sexy.
the 5th one's coming up.
Yes.
Oh man, but I am I guess it's kind of like, it's a little nostalgic. Like I'm proud of us. Like the fact that, aside, we always talk about like the consistency part of it, but aside from that, I think it's the passion for it. Because if we didn't have the passion, there would be no consistency in wanting to continue to do this and to talk and have the people hear our voice, you know. And thank you to the people that tune in from, you know, week to week or however long or often you tune in to us.
And the listeners too. Thank you.
Right? So definitely appreciate y'all. Yeah, this has been a good season.
When we talk about our journey, I always think about setting up that big old ring light by my bed, sitting there mad hot because the ring light was exerting, whatever the word is, giving me so much heat. But that was a long time ago when we started our journey as podcasters on different coasts. And now we're literally, I can touch you. You're right here. But yeah, I love that, like you said, the passion too. And also the different topics that we get to talk about on the podcast has not been repetitive, even though we've talked about a couple things twice, but it was different information because we either talked about it by ourselves or we had a friend come on. And then that too, like we've met friends.
Not everybody on the show.
Right.
Shout out to y'all.
Not everybody that was on the show with us, we knew from the start. Like some poets that we've had on our podcast, some guest speakers that we've had on our podcast. Maybe one time we reached out to someone in the medical field and they weren't working anymore, so they put us in the hands of somebody else, or we were looking for poets and people, you know, just popped up into our lives. So not just being in your ears, but being able to meet different people and learn about other people's journeys and experience. It's been an amazing journey. I love this. I love doing this with my best friend. And I like listening back to it too. I'll be laughing, but in the car laughing, like, and it's always funny because I'll be like, that must have really been funny because I laughed with myself while I was listening to it. But shout out to the 16th episode for the 4th season.
Or like when people be listening and they send like a screenshot or like to show that they're listening, or like post it on their story to be like, I'm listening, check out this episode. Like my mom sent me a picture of her watching it in her office on her TV on YouTube, and I was like, man, she was like, you're so extra.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching though. I appreciate you tuning in.
Oh my gosh, she feels, look, mom, meaning Monie's mom. Are you listening, Mrs. Parker? Like, do you see? Cause you look just like your mom, bro. Like, it's like weird.
Spitting image. She can't
do you feel like you're watching yourself?
You gonna say, how does it feel to see me on TV?
No, how does it feel to see somebody that looks just like you?
She proud. But anywho, you know, we are happy that we are here closing it out. But per usual, we cannot skip our check-in. So since the last episode, boo boo, how is you? Ooh, you know, a year older. You know, how you feeling?
Today, me and Monie are the same age.
Yes, we are.
We're 6 months apart, and now I'm the same age as Monie. I feel really great. For those of you who don't know or don't follow me on Instagram, I went to San Francisco for my birthday. I took my mom there, and I had an amazing time. I finally got to see. If you listen to maybe season 2, I think that's when we went to
Sally Walker. Oh,
Susan by the seashore. That episode, the psychic told me that I was gonna go to San Francisco, but that's always been something that I want to do. So it was really, really nice to go. It was funny because my mom and I were like, "It's so quiet," because we're from the tri-state area. We used to loud noise, like
Our trains are underground. You ain't gonna hear no subway, nothing.
But even if it's not a train, you hear somebody walking by on the phone, you hear somebody music next door, like all through the day, night, everything. So it was different, but it was really relaxing. And I'm glad that I have friends like Monie, Tay, Ronald, Bree, those people, Choice, they've been there before, so they were able to tell me like things that I may look out for. So I knew not to take too much money with me. And I knew to take sneakers, like it's not a stiletto place, it's not like an uppity place, so really relax. My mom was like, we packed the right stuff. And I was like, shout out to Tay because the weather, everything. But the other thing too was um there were some things that I was talking to people about, like I'm gonna wait until November. Like we were talking about the dating apps, or like getting back out there, telling people that I like them, stuff like that. And I was like, no, I'll wait till November. I'll get back on the app in November. But I like things just transpire within time. And when I was speaking with Bree, she was like, "Is that salt water? Is that salt water?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like as soon as I got to San Francisco, I felt like so calm, like just being around the water, being in a calm environment. Beautiful weather. I heard it was raining here for y'all, but it
definitely was.
It was nice weather there. Walking, like we didn't rent a car because I wanted to feel like a tourist. So I literally got a lift once. Everything else was like once we're in Chinatown, then Little Italy is right there, then this is right there. So I checked my app and it was like I walked 7 point something miles one day and 6 point something miles another day. It was just I feel good, y'all. I feel really good. Speaking of Chinatown, I bought back fortune cookies, and this one that I bought back. Well, I got one made. I'll tell you about that outside of the podcast. But I got one made. But aside from that, I got the pack of like chocolate, strawberry, and regular fortune cookies that's over there on the table for me, Monie, and Sade to enjoy later. But I opened one without them, and I want to share this fortune that says, "You are headed in the right direction." And I felt like God told me to, or the universe told me to open this at this time because. So for those of you who don't know, I just got a promotion at my job.
Well, what? Yeah, come on, promotion. Come on, promotion. I'm like, I got a promotion, okay? It's a promotion. More money.
Yeah. Okay. More money, more opportunities, everything. And when my director asked me how did it feel to be in this position, I said the only thing that's changed is my location, my room. I have a different office, but I feel like I'm doing the same thing. And God put you in places where you deserve to be. I've been acting out this role kind of, sort of, for the last year, and now I'm getting the credit and the pay for it. And it just feels so amazing. I'm looking forward to, I don't want to talk too much about it on the podcast, but like I'm looking forward to growing in so many different ways. And my mindset is like, just do it afraid. And it's a lot of things that I've been wanting to do, but I've been so timid and afraid, and I don't want to fail. But this is just like, I didn't say anything out loud because I know I want to say it on the mic. But in my head, I was like, yo, wow, like this is crazy. I read this at the perfect time. So I'm glad that I'm headed in the right direction. And that's where I am today.
Like, girl, thank you for reading it, because shoot, I need to hear that too. I've been having like a really weird, like rocky past few weeks, I guess, with adjusting with new things, new schedule, trying to figure out how to balance everything that I want to do. And I had a realization that I'm not really taking care of myself the way that I'm supposed to, that I put some things off to add other things on and putting other things to the wayside. And transparently, like this past week, I had a panic attack, and I haven't had one in so long. So when it happened, yes, it was sudden, but in that moment, I was like, oh no, I know what this is, and it scared me that I couldn't stop it. So it's almost like I had to like just kind of be in it.
Like you were panicking because you were having a panic
attack. I started panicking more because I realized what was actually happening. Like my chest started to cramp. At first, I was like, did I eat something bad? Like my chest started to cramp, but I knew when my breathing started to get really short, I was like, oh no, I know what this is. And I got like, my vision got a little blurry. I had to take myself off to the side, and I was worried because way back when I first had my first panic attack in my early 20s, it was in front of my class, like my students. And the last thing I wanted to do, and I was at work, the last thing I wanted to do was to present that in front of not only students, but like also like my team members, it was a weird situation for me to be in, but I was grateful to have people around that actually cared, because no one checked on me. Like, I could have passed out, anything could have happened. But it was a realization for me, like, what was that breaking point for me? Why did I have a panic attack? And it wasn't, I think, just being in the environment that I was at the time, it was just a lot going on at once. And I think that was just the tip of the iceberg. It wasn't just that one thing alone, but it was like me, I had to sit and think about like everything that I had been doing over the past couple of weeks that wasn't normal. Like, I stopped meditating. I haven't been eating like I'm supposed to. Because I'm trying to find time to eat during the day. I've been
been exerting a lot of energy too, because I saw on your Apple Watch.
Exactly. I'm on my feet all day. I'm trying to like figure out this curriculum that I'm creating. Want to make sure that I'm the best teacher possible. And then like personal things that I'm trying to not take to work, but I got to do it when I get home. It was just like a combination of things, and like the wall just finally came crumbling down. So the next day, literally, I was like, I know what that means. That's a reset button.
Yeah.
So I got up, I cleaned my room, I cleaned the bathroom, I cleaned the kitchen, I went to the gym, I washed my clothes, I did my hair, I bought like.
It's so cute, y'all watching it, right?
I did my hair, put some makeup on, got me a new little vest to make me feel cute.
But that was new.
That was new.
It was cute.
Yes, the vest was new. Everything else wasn't. I just wanted, it's make myself feel good and feel like myself again, right?
Yeah.
To put myself back in a place where I feel comfortable being me. I even like look back at my planner. For the month of September, I kind of fell off on like planning things out. It was just, I just got to recalibrate, figure some things out, like got to listen to your body. And the crazy thing is I was going to call out work that day, but I was like, it's fine. I don't even teach today. Today's my roll off day. I can still go in, work on my lesson plans. But mentally, I was like, I feel like I need a mental health day. But because I wasn't teaching that day, I was like, no, I'll still go in. And I was like, I should have taken the day.
Yeah.
I should have listened to my body, and I should have taken the day because I knew I needed it. But because I felt like, I'm not gonna be doing as much today, I'll still go in. By the end of the day, when it was time to go, that's literally when it happened. So I was just like, and then on top of that, it was flood. It was a bunch going on in New York. I was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
So with that being said, make sure y'all taking care of yourself. Make sure you're listening to your body. Health wise, like make sure you're eating when you're supposed to, like especially when it comes to like always being on the go. Like you have to find the time to make sure that you are good and taking care of yourself. Not like, now I gotta give me some protein bars, because I definitely need to make sure that I'm staying nourished during the day. Like I drink water, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
So, but yes, y'all,
thanks for sharing that. And I also want to, because that's making me think about the time when I was dehydrated, that I was on the go, and then I wasn't having water, and I wasn't eating enough food that week. And the major part for me was having people around you who care, and telling those people or letting them support you. Sometimes we don't let other people come into our circle or let them know, because we're trying to hide things. Like you said, you didn't want it to happen in front of people, them to witness it, but we can't control that all the time. So shout out to the staff that was there. Shout out to the student who texted you that wanted to check in with you. Shout out to my cousin and his friends who were there when I almost fainted on the streets because I was dehydrated. So it's all like signs from the universe. Y'all gonna see why I keep saying universe. Signs from the universe to tell you like, hey bro, I know you're trying to do all this stuff, but what about me? Like, what about your body? You have to pour into yourself. You have to set boundaries for yourself. You have to rest, eat, all these things, because if you're not functioning, your class is not going to matter, or my work is not going to matter. That party that I was sitting in the line for is not going to matter if I'm not here to celebrate. I mean, if I'm not alive and well to be able to do that. Wellness means, like you said, nutrition, drinking your water, mental health, meditation, knowing who you are. Like, even when it comes to work too, like I remember I scheduled, so technically on the books, my job is 9 to 5, but sometimes we can flex our hours because a client might want to be seen at night. Like, you have your therapist after work. So things like that. And I scheduled a conference, I think it was like 5:30 or 6 on a Tuesday night. And I said, oh yeah, I'm fine. And then I finally realized, and I was like, oh snap, I'm supposed to be on my way to Brooklyn to go record a podcast that time. And I had to put me first. Like, no, I scheduled this. It's not fair for my partner to have to reschedule everything just because I'm trying to have this conference. Like, work can, set your boundaries. Technically, that's after work hours. I can put that at another time. So I know we want to say yes to work a lot of times, and technically, this is work, but it's not work technically.
Right.
But like, no, even if it was a date, I probably would have still like a date with a book thing or something like that. I probably still would have, said no. Like, I scheduled this already, or I wanted to do this already. Should I do it for Pilates? I got Pilates class scheduled. I gotta go. I ain't trying to get the extra fee, but yeah, basically, yeah. Who are you at the end of the day if you're not doing those things that make you feel like you?
Yeah, so I hate that it was through my panic attack, but I'm glad that my reset button was hit, and I'm like, let's go ahead, recalibrate, reschedule, refigure some things out, get my life back, okay? Snatch my edges again, okay? Getting back to me.
Well, I'm glad you're back to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And thank God for the salt water from the Bay Area.
Right. Next time she go back, she gotta go with me because I gotta take her to the true Bay.
No,
take her to Oakland.
It's not that gotta go. I am gonna go. Like when I was on the trip, I was like, Oakland's right there, but I'd rather go with Monie. Like I need to go on a tour with her. You and Kiki take me somewhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And your dad.
Yep. And Devin, we're gonna take you all around the town.
Yes.
Period. All right, but with that, are we good with the check-in?
Yes.
As y'all can see, we finished the check-in, right? I got the
For the
carpet segment shirt on. We got the check-in and the icebreaker and the 223 and the cap and the dorm story and the community news.
Yeah.
Because that's how I run it down.
Is it on the website?
Yes.
Yes, get off the website.
Bada bang, bada boom, So, with that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all the rundown for the season finale of season 4. So, heading on over into the icebreaker, we are going to be reading a card from the Universe Has Your Back Oracle deck. Always a interesting time when we are pulling the Oracle cards. We never know what's going to come out, but it's always a great conversation based on what we pull. Then heading on over into Suite 223, Yaya is going to be sharing a poem in regards to our hot topic episode, which has to do with grandmothers. We're talking about the experience we had with our grandmothers, what we loved about our grandmothers, just an overall view of a grandmother's love. You don't want to miss out on this, especially if you definitely your grandmothers are near and dear to your heart. You definitely want to tune in. And then heading on over to the dorm story segment, we have a wonderful story that we're going to share about a grandmother's love. Then heading on over into the community news segment, where you don't want to miss out on, because there's always something for everybody. We have some things coming up that we want to make sure that you are in tune for. So stay tuned all the way until the end, and then you'll be in the know. Okay, so now, without further ado, we're going to head over to the icebreaker. Yeah. Wow.
Now that I had a sip of wine, it is time to get into the icebreaker.
Rhyme.
Okay. So like Monie said during the rundown, we are playing.
We're not playing, okay.
We are pulling cards from the Universe Has Your Back. I want to say it's an Oracle card deck, but I'm not sure. Okay, it's the Oracle card deck by Gabrielle Bernstein. If you listen to our podcast in some seasons ago, or maybe last season, we pulled cards before. These are not tarot cards, y'all. These are
Oracle cards.
Oracle cards, which kind of like relate to, in my mind, an affirmation card. So we're gonna pull one each, read it out loud to you all, and
see how it
resonates with us.
All right.
I have this deck at home. I like to use it sometimes with my clients. I like to use it with my coworkers as well, and everybody that I've shared it with, they like it. So, and it's always weird because it resonates literally with what you're going through.
Right.
Kind of like my fortune cookie paper.
So the duffel has been checked. The deck has been shuffled.
I need a duffel bag with money.
You want to pull first? Or you want me to pull?
Something's telling me to split. and pull from the bottom of that split. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Wow. That kind of like, I'm gonna read it again, but my experience in reading that just now, I felt like a tear jerk. I felt like it was creepy, and I felt like it just, my great grandma, a picture, a vision of her just came to my head. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. So I'm a spiritual person. I'm not religious. I do believe that we are balls of energy walking around, borrowing a body that God gave us, and I'm in human form, experiencing life. But I think what matters most is the love, the connection, the experiences that we have with other humans, other species, things like that. So that's what I'm getting from this. The reason why I said I felt like a tear jerk or whatever I said is because the vision that came of my great grandmother. I am a person who believes in angels and that spirits are around me, protecting me. I pray to God, but sometimes I talk to my great aunt, my great grandma, my grandma, my aunt. I said aunt already, right? The people my ancestors who came before me, and I'm like, grandma, I like this boy, bro. Like, is it worth giving him some time? Should I tell him I like him? Like, what do you think? Like, that's how I speak to them. But I believe that they're watching me in my human experience because they've had their human experience too. So that's why that came in my head. But yeah, I see this. I resonate with that.
I resonate and I'm too low from the bottom of that.
Okay. The bottom of the deck.
And it says, my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So I've been, as of late, been trying to decide what truly does make me happy.
That's Mary J. Blige.
Which is why I also feel like I have been in this place of struggling with giving myself grace and understanding that I am where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to do. And if I wasn't meant to do what I'm doing, I would not be here. So it's a matter of me continuing to have faith
and grace.
Yes. And believing like everything I'm doing is with purpose and everything I'm doing is bigger than myself. Like continuing to remind myself, like, you are doing a great thing. You are where you are supposed to be and doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, headed in the right direction. Like if it wasn't meant for me to do it, I'd be doing something completely different. And who's to say that, I'm not necessarily going to be doing the same thing forever, but this particular space that I'm in right now, this is where I need to be in order for me to get to the next chapter or the next part of my journey, whatever that may be. So yes, and then also remembering that, what I focus on becomes my reality. If I choose to think that I am not worthy of the things that I have, or what I have is not enough, then that's what's going to become my reality. If I choose to be happy and affirm with myself that everything is good, everything is fine, it will be fine, everything will be good, despite the things that might happen, surrounding me. As long as I am good and content with me, happy with me, having faith in what I'm doing, no matter how big that dream may be, it's mine. And it's meant for me to accomplish it, regardless of what anybody else may have to say. But I have to have faith in what I want to do in order for it to happen.
So. Amen, sister.
Yep, my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So yeah, same. I'm a very spiritual person, and I do truly believe that what I believe will manifest as long as I'm putting in that work. But if I believe I can't do it, it won't happen.
So. You know what song is going to my mind?
What song?
What God has for me, it is for me.
I don't know that one.
It's from it's a hymn book song, I think. Yeah, that's what came to my head when you were saying what you said.
Yes, absolutely. Boom, bada bing, bada bow, bow. Yeah. But yes, if y'all would like to, get your own deck of these cards, I highly recommend.
I got mine off of Amazon.
It's definitely a good tool to have, especially when you're trying to just unpack some things that you may be going through, or maybe even want to get some writing out, some journal entries.
Unpacking detangle.
Shout out to the podcast. But yeah, just I highly recommend having these in your repertoire of things that you use to help you get through different situations in your life. So yeah, absolutely. And that is our icebreaker.
Broke the ice.
The ice has been broken.
And now we're gonna head over to our poetry segment, which is Sweet 223.
Bow.
She liked the word bow today.
I do. Ooh.
Hey y'all, we're now in our Sweet 223 segment, which is our poetry segment for our podcast. I, Unique Love, am going to be sharing a special poem today called Wildflower, and the poet's name is Rashon Hasan. I was once put in a place with nothing to see, not a soul to talk to, and not a thing that I could be, not a voice to hear me laugh. So there above the dark gray clouds was a flower I just had to have. Up above in the sunlight, in the sunlit sky was what seemed to be the reddest rose and the most yellow daisy surrounded by blue, with its luminous glow that reminded me of a love I once knew. And I'm quite sure that if you had seen this wildflower, you would have wanted it too. I was told the sky is the limit. So for what am I to do without an ear to hear, or a person to see me shed a tear under a shadeless tree? Maybe I can reach the flower if I try with all my might. But if it falls, if all fails, I should try again at the first sight of light. Through all the things I have been through, reaching the flower was my goal, not able to realize the pleasure and pain it had inflicted upon my soul. So I raise my head and speak to the holy man. Promise me I can have the wildflower located in the promised land. Then I stared at the beautiful flower, which now seemed kind of tame. When I die, bury me with this flower in the depths of pearl white sands. I reached out high and touched the sky as the flower fell in my hand. I have fulfilled my one and only goal, so bury me here where I stand. Now I shall count the minutes of time. Now I can stay happy because the wildflower is finally mine. That is Wildflower by my brother, Rashon Hasan. Before we reflect on the poem, I wanted to share this poem because if you listen to the rundown earlier, the hot topic of today is regarding our grandmothers. And my brother first lost his paternal grandma. Then we lost our maternal grandma. Then we lost our great grandma. And this poem has been used for all his grandmas. And it's actually the poem that's printed on my great aunt and my grandmother's tombstone. Because they're like on the same place. They buried on top of each other. And then it was used in the other grandmother's obituary. So every time I think grandma and poetry or things like that, I think about this poem. So shout out to my brother. Thanks for letting us share your poem with everybody else. So let's reflect on it.
The first thing that I thought of was, oh shoot.
I know this podcast is not sponsored by Kleenex, guys, but I feel like we're gonna need some tissue.
Dang it.
It's okay.
The first thing it made me think of was the place I got out of after my nana had passed away. Like just going outside and walking. There's been a lot of days inside, just dark. Didn't open the windows, nothing. And then one day I was just like, let me just go for a walk. And I came across this flower. It's on the other side of this gate.
Mm-hmm.
And I just stopped and I just took a picture of it. And that was the first picture I took on my first walk after being in darkness for so long. Just going outside and like just seeing that flower reminded me of my nana. So from then on, I continued to just take pictures of flowers to remind myself how beautiful life is and like the way your life can bloom. There's so many different types of flowers. There's so many different ways that you can grow as a person, just like a flower. But also it was a reminder of like, I am a flower. Like I'm in this dark space, but I'm growing out of it. I'm blooming again. You know, I had to take care of myself, water myself. In order to bloom again, I had to be in that dark place in order for me to grow. I needed to be watered and cared for. And I think it was her that helped to push me to go out and walk. And because of her, like every single time I see a flower, I think of her. Every single time I see a flower. Every time I see a flower, I stop and take a picture. Every single time. It's just a reminder of like just life and beauty and blossoming and but literally like talking about like the flower on the other side, like I couldn't reach the flower, but it was so beautiful I had to take a picture of it. I couldn't reach it. Like that's immediately the first thing I thought of was that one lone flower. It was one flower, dirt field on the other side of the fence. It was like it was me. It reminded me of me.
Thanks for sharing, Monie. For me, the flower represents goals that I have in my life. I remember conversations with my grandmother, and I was literally thinking about this last night because when I said about the universe has their card, that I literally had that conversation with my grandmother last night. Like, Grandma, I got this crush on this boy. Like, am I wasting my time? What should I do with this? And that talking with her last night brought me back to when I was younger, and she would say, travel the world, go to college, enjoy college, like do these different things. Don't worry about these pissy boys. Like you just have fun. Everything else will come to you. Just go out there and live life. And I got a chance, like if you guys have heard before, I got a chance as a kid to go out the country, and I didn't understand why my family was making a big fuss. Like, oh, can I be a chaperone? Can I go to New Zealand? Can I go here? And like giving me money. Aside from a birthday, that was the first time I ever saw a family like give me hundreds of dollars, and I never understood until now. Like I'm older and I see how fortunate as a kid that I was to have an opportunity to go out the country, to go to college, to be able to live life and not be bound by family or men or opportunities. Like my family has poured into so much into me, but it was always my great grandma who gave me that message to say, basically, like how everybody says, you got to put you first. Like, don't worry about all these other things. Just go, go, go. That's what my grandmother said. So when he said, I'm reaching for this flower and I can't reach it, there's a goal that I have in life. And all I have to do is talk to my ancestors and talk to God and keep working on it and keep believing in myself. Just like you said in the check-in, like just if you believe it, you can achieve it. And it's making me think of that song, Closer to My Dreams. Like when you said the flower was behind the fence, I noticed that when you share the pictures now, there's no fence. So it's all like symbolic and it's just showing that you're getting closer. And I believe that when we pass away, we may, while we're living, not know what that goal is that God has for us. But I believe that we're on this earth for a reason, to leave some value in some kind of way. Maybe not to be a millionaire, maybe not to heal all hearts or whatever, but there's something. So when he says the flower became tan and this is where you can bury me at, I thought about, I reached that goal. I was able to travel to all these places. I was able to have a family in whatever way that meant for God. I was able to become a therapist and touch so many people's heart. Whatever that target number God had for me, I reached it and I'm satisfied and I please God, and now I could rest peacefully. So that's the message, and those are the thoughts that came to my mind. Jesus, I need some tissue. Those are the thoughts that came to my mind when reading that poem. So maybe that was on purpose, that God had us not be able to find other poems that we were trying to find. And thank you to my brother. We called him right before we started recording to ask if we could share his poem. But that's Wildflower by Rashon Hasan.
Yeah, and I had never heard the poem or seen it, and it just directly reflected.
Yeah.
What I had went through.
So yeah, guys, if you have any feedback, you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel, our Instagram page, or on Spotify directly. I think maybe Apple Podcasts, I'm not sure, but we're gonna take a little break so we can go wipe our faces and we'll be right back. And we'll be moving into our hot topic segment after it, which is hot topics. I always love my grandma. She's my favorite girl. Well, I had a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of grandmas. Yo, we are now in the caf where we don't have food, but we have wine. Hi, it's wine time.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yaya and Monie. We are talking about our grandmothers during this segment. So, like I said, this podcast is not sponsored, but we may have to take a little breath because this
bear with us.
Yeah, this is a topic that is near and dear to our hearts. The reason why I wanted to bring this topic up was because if you listen to some episodes ago, we had our friend Jeffrey Belair on our podcast, and things got a little emotional for all of us. I know that because I saw y'all's eyes when I asked him about his grandmother. Jeffrey was really close to his grandmother, and when I asked that question and I looked at all of us, I was like, yo, we all were impacted by our grandmothers. And just aside from that, Black people typically are impacted, whether you're raised by your grandmother, like directly, or having some impact in some way. Like, we really are all of us are close. And at that time, I was like, I only got one grandma left. And technically she's my great grandma, but still call her grandma. And then shortly after that podcast, we lost her in the human form. So that's why we're here, because just want to touch on a few things with you all and speak.
And sure, some things will resonate.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure some things will resonate if they have not already. Okay.
Right. All right, so let's jump into it. What did or do you refer to your grandma as?
So,
you can talk about all 10 of them.
I don't have that many. So I'll start with my paternal side. My dad's grandmother, my great grandmother, we called her Meemaw.
Oh.
My Meemaw. And then my dad's mother, my Nana. So I had my Nana and my Meemaw on my dad's side. And then on my mom's side, I had Granny Sherry. We call her Granny.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, a side question. When you become a grandma, what do you want your grandkids to refer to you as?
That we moving too far into the future.
I know, but I don't know about that.
Cause my mother goes by G-Ma. She is not a G. She is a G-Ma. G-Ma and G-Pa in that house over there. Okay. I think my auntie is Glamma.
That's what I wanted to get to. Like the housewives,
I'm a glam mom.
Mimi and Sheree are glam moms, and everybody has their nickname. So that's why I asked you. I want to see.
I don't know. I like double letters, so people probably call me Gigi.
Gigi.
Yeah,
that's cute.
Because my nephew called me TT, so my grandkids can call me Gigi.
It's the letters.
Yeah.
So my great grandma, we call her Grandma Ida. My grandma, we call her Grandma Barbara. Those are maternal sides. And then my mom's, like my mom's mom, and then her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Then my mom's dad's mom, we call her Grandma Ruth. So all those on my mom's side, grandma. Mm-hmm. And then my dad's mom, we call her Nana. Mm-hmm. And then this is how Black families are. My brother's wife's grandma, we call her Nan.
Nan?
So even though she's not
biological. Not Nana, but Nan.
The Nan. She's Nan. Then I had a Nana, and I had 3 other grandmas. But even though Nan is not biologically a part of my family because of how our family system works, she's family to us. So I just always thought it was funny that the woman's side is grandma's, and then the man's side is.
I just realized that too when you said Nana and you saying grandma. Yeah, granny. Well, we say granny, mm-hmm. but it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I think it might be a roots thing too. I'm not sure because I feel like Mima and Nana was a Southern thing, yeah. And that side of my family, they're from Louisiana. So, and then I'm thinking it has to do with Southern roots, mm-hmm. as far as Mima and Nana, because I used to read a lot of books. And some of the grandmother characters in the books were Meemaw, spelled differently, but I remember it being from books, and those books took place in the South. So I'm mm-hmm. thinking that it has some Southern root connected to it.
The other funny thing too is at my great grandmother's funeral, different people got on the mic to speak, mm-hmm. and she is one little person with so many different names. So when I got up there and, my immediate cousins got up there, it was Grandma Ida. But then when my second cousin, generations like that, mm-hmm. second cousin got up there, he referred to her as Nana. So everybody had their name of how they reference mm-hmm. her, but everybody know what it is. So I don't know. We follow whatever our parents tell us to call them, right?
Yeah. My Nana wanted to be called Nana, though. I'll never forget my dad saying, when I was born, my Nana was like, I'm a Nana, I'm a Nana, I'm a Nana. She wanted to be called Nana.
My mom, I think they asked her what she wanted to be called, and then she said, I'm a grandma. I don't care about that grandma and all that other cute stuff. People want to be hip and stuff. No, I'm grandma. But now, my sister-in-law, she said, I'm gonna call you Grams. So now
Grams.
Now she call her Grams, but my nephew still call her Grandma. What's something your grandmother said to you that you'll never forget?
3 things.
Okay. I'm gonna take a sip.
One thing I'll never forget, she used to always tell me, work hard, but not too hard. Mm-hmm. She always made a reference to the fact that I was always working. I was always doing something, but she always wanted to make sure that I was having fun. She didn't want me to just burn myself out. Yeah. She's like, you always got a lot going on. You working hard, but don't work too hard. So that always sticks with me, which reminds me, make time for yourself, She's always supported everything that I wanted to do, always been there for me for everything. So yeah, my Nana always told me, work hard, but not too hard. Another thing that she would always say that I thought was funny was just keep living. Hey Nana, how you doing today? Baby, just keep living. Just keep living. But it has now that I'm an adult, it has so many strong meanings for me as far as not giving up on yourself and continuing to live and believe in the things that you want for your life. Life don't stop just because you stop. Right. You have to keep living. There's a purpose and a reason for being here. It's the same thing I was talking about earlier, having faith in in the universe for my happiness. Just I have to keep living, and if I'm not gonna see the end goal, if I give up, it's just a matter of putting that battery in my back and continue to keep going, but still remembering to work hard, but not too hard. Take a break when you need to, but you can't stop living. Like you can pause, but the world don't stop just because you stop. And then just also just her making that like saying it in regards to like just getting older and things that are just gonna happen. Like some things that she just even feel like explaining. Like, look, I'm having a day. Just keep living. Okay, it's been a tough day. I'm not gonna go into details about what happened in my day, but baby, just keep living. Just keep living. Dang, I forgot the third one that I was gonna say. It was work hard, not too hard. Just keep living. The other one will come back to me. I lost it, but those were two of the things that always stick with me, and I think about it every single day, especially in moments where I feel like I need to talk to her. I like feel her presence. Like every time I see 1111, I'll be like, okay, Nana. Like depending on what I'm thinking at that time, or if I need to alter my thoughts, or if I'm thinking about something specific, even if it's a positive thought, I'm like, me saying 1111 in that moment, I'm like, that's affirmation. All right, Nana, you agree with me. You listening. All right, you still here. Because a lot of people wonder, like, oh, you have 1111 on you. What does that mean? And for me, it truly is an angel number. Because around the time when my Nana first passed away, I kept seeing it. And it was the first time I was introduced to angel numbers. I will never forget. And I was like, well, how do I keep seeing this number? So I started looking it up. Had no idea it was a thing. I was like, I keep seeing 1111. And I kept coming across all these things that were angel numbers. I started following different spiritual people on like YouTube and what they were talking about as far as the number and what it meant. And then like your thoughts and the universe and angels and spirituality and knowing that everything is going to be okay and you're guided. I was like, it was a lot. it was a lot. Yeah, but those were the two things. If I remember the other one when it comes back to me, I'll share it. But work hard, not too hard, and just keep living. Just keep living.
So you bring up 1111. This is not my answer to what she told me, but that number hits me every time too. And every time I see it, I tweet it or I'll text it to you, or I'll stop and speak to either DeQuisha or my grandmother. So that number first hit for me, aside from it being cute on the top, when Boo Boo passed away, who's DeQuisha, I was seeing that number every day, and it stuck out to me because that's her birthday, November 11th. And then after a while, I stopped catching it. I was just catching 1010 or 222 or something like that, different angel numbers. And then when my great grandmother passed away, I started seeing 1111 again. Even though that's not her birthday, I started picking up, well, maybe this number is like a spiritual number for me, connecting me back to that. So that's what came to mind when you shared yours. And I was like, that's crazy because it kind of resonates for me the same way. Regarding the question at hand, I shared earlier, if maybe you skipped to this part of the episode, but the thing that my grandmother shared with me is, forget these pissy boys. Go on the trips, go for everything, travel, go to school, do what you gotta do, live life. And I'm a frugal person. I like to see more money in front of me than paying for stuff. Like I like to catch a deal. If I'm catching a deal, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that deal. But if the original price on something is $5, I don't want to pay $5. I don't want to pay $5. That's how I'm a Mr. Krabs in that way. But a lot of times, my great grandmother's voice will come to my mind, and my mom too. Like remind me, you worked hard for what you want to do. It's okay to buy that purse. It's okay to go on that trip. It's okay to, do something for yourself. You deserve it. Like, especially thinking about some people in my family who never got a chance to leave Jersey or got a chance to go to college. Like I said earlier, that's something that like when I want to book a trip, but I feel like I hear my grandma saying, "Go for it. You deserve it. Go see the world." Well, there's nothing stopping me from doing it. So that's one thing that my grandmother said to me. that will stay with me forever. And then the second thing is since college, I've been cooking collard greens, or greens, because not just collards, but the greens for Thanksgiving. And my cousin, I know you're listening, Ronald, but I always say it's good, but it's spicy. It's good, but it's spicy because I would put too much salt and pepper inside of the greens. So one Thanksgiving, we'll take turns. Like my mom will host one year, or mom's mom will host one year. This year we were hosting, but I helped to cook with my mom. And then my great grandma was there and she was eating the greens. Then she came back for a second and she said, "Who cooked these greens?" And I said that I did. And she said, "Oh girl, you put your foot in these greens. It tastes so good." And the stems too, you make sure you got the big stems out. It's not like I don't have to pick around. I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Yeah, you need to make sure that you do it every time. I like these greens. I need some more." And that stood out to me. I said, "I got the best greens to this day." That like it just makes me feel good because my family is known to have good food, like to cook. So just to know that like I got like a stamp of approval from my great grandma meant something. So yeah, those are some things that she told me that I will never forget.
And I remember the last one.
Yes, girl.
It's the very last thing that my nana told me before she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let my house burn down to the ground. That's what she said. And I didn't realize it. I was just like, okay, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take care of everything. But come to find, it was a lot of things I had to take care of when she left. She left everything in my name.
Wow.
And that was a lot for me to have to deal with. And I didn't realize how heavy it was going to be until after she had passed away. Cause like in that moment, it's just like, don't let I thought it was as a joke. I was like
a literal fire.
I'm gonna burn the house down. But it was a message for me to keep everybody together, keep the family together. Don't let nothing fall to the wayside. Like just continue to keep things afloat. Yeah, she left. Yeah, my name's on everything.
That's a big responsibility too.
Yeah. And she had made that decision a long time ago, like when I was a baby. So I'm like, it's like she just knew that it was the right decision before I knew to leave me with that responsibility.
What's making you emotional about it?
Faith that she had in me. Before I even had it in myself. To know that that was the right decision. Like, sometimes it feels like a lot of pressure. And then sometimes I feel like I'm too far away. But then I also know like she wouldn't want me to stay stagnant. Like, you know, helping to, you know, keep things afloat doesn't mean I have to stay nearby. You know, I still have to live my life and do what I need to do. But just her encouragement and her belief in me, like always believing the best in me. Yeah.
So the pressure that you're getting is making you into a precious diamond because you had a lot of opportunities come your way since leaving Cali and coming to Brooklyn, and you're still influencing your family even though you're not there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she's looking down on you, smiling and happy about the decision that she made. And even though she's not physically with us, she's still with you in your heart, reminding you of those things. So sometimes when you feel defeated, when that student is getting on your nerves, or the project didn't go as smoothly as you wanted, or anything like that, just remember those messages that she cheered for you, believe in yourself.
Yeah, even moving here, I wasn't sure if me moving here was the right move.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was packing, what did I find? Pictures of her when she went to New York.
Oh, oh, the power of symbolism.
I didn't even know that she ever went to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I found all these old postcards that she kept at the bottom of this.
And you found them while you were moving.
While I was packing up her stuff, I was cleaning out everything, and I had already had the job. And I wasn't sure if I was making the right move, and there it was, bright as day.
A message for you, a stamp of approval. Like, yes,
Yep.
you're doing the right thing.
I look at those postcards every day as a reminder. It came to me at the right time.
So you put it on your wall.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Do you feel comfortable moving to that question? Okay. What's your favorite memory you have with your grandmother?
Oh, just calling and sharing stuff. Just calling and talking on the phone. That just anything that I wanted to do.
Chit chatting.
Just chit chat, just talking. Whether it's about my day, something I did. Like when I was a kid, I used to call her to read, read a book. Oh, listen to this new song I learned on the keyboard. Anything. Like I would call her for everything. Just sharing, just sitting with her, talking, sharing stories. Yeah, just I love being around my nana. Yeah, just talking to her. Like sometimes I used to call just to hear the voicemail for her, to hear her voice.
Oh.
Don't answer the phone. Don't answer the phone. I'm just trying to hear the voicemail. I think the best thing was like every time she would say, answer the phone and say, "Hey, baby."
Oh,
yeah.
My favorite memory of I have two separate. So my grandma was my mom's mom. When the memory that I have, she was handicapped. So, and she would spend a lot of time, at least for the time that I can remember from my brain, in her bedroom. And she would just sit there, like she potty trained us, she took care of us and everything, but she wouldn't really come outside. But she was the person who, me, Ronald, Raven, Christy, like whoever else was at the house, she would like give us cheese doodles. It was just like it was like a Barney bag that just like snacks was just always coming out of. And then when the ice cream truck would come by, I'll run upstairs, or Ronald will run upstairs to go say, Grandma, can we have an ice cream? And she'll always give us the $1 or $1.25 if you want the sprinkles to get the ice cream. So that was a memory from grandma. Kind of makes me think of too, like if mommy said no, grandma got those extra snacks for you kind of thing. But she was always giving too. And I don't remember ever getting in trouble from my grandma. Like I think she was like maybe my mom will tell you different, but my memory is like her room was the safe space we will sit in. So like the setup was like her bed, and then she had her wheelchair sitting on the side of the bed, and she had potty on the side, but the potty had a lid, so some people will be sitting on her bed, somebody sitting in the wheelchair or the potty and just gathered up watching Barney or whatever cartoon or anything that she had in her room. So just that quality time that we got to have with my grandma Barbara. And then my great grandma Ida, the memory that I have of her was just that there was something else I was going to share that went away, but what's coming up to my mind is that she was just always there. She's a tiny, tiny person, and if you see me and Monie in person, we're small too, but she's smaller than me. She was like 4 feet something tall, but she had like a big heart, and she had like a big personality, like her dancing around her random song. She had this song that if I'm saying song and your family listening, you know what I'm about to say. oh well, I sing my song. You should be like have her sing that. I just oh well, I sing my song. um, but like every holiday, every graduation, whether it was in Jersey, in Atlanta, whatever it was, she was there. She wouldn't catch no airplane though, so the family would have to drive. But she'll catch a train. But she was just always there. She is the matriarch of our family. We all grew up in that family. My grandmother had a big house in the South Ward, and um, I don't know because I was a kid, but I guess parents or family members fell on hard times, but you could stay in one of the rooms in the house. So she was just like a family that wouldn't see you fail. Um, the message is like we take care of each other. We're not gonna see you without. If you need a space to be, I'm here for you. I got your back, and that's the message that I take on from her is family. Like we're always there for each other.
Absolutely. Now I'm thinking about my great grandmother, my Meemaw. Memories I have with her, just watching her in the kitchen, her cooking. I wish I would have learned more from her from cooking. Just hot water cornbread straight off.
Hot water
cornbread. Hot water cornbread straight off the stove. Her just kicking us out the kitchen because she was the only person allowed in the kitchen. Get out the kitchen. Just it was like a between the dining room. There was like an opening between the dining room and the kitchen. So we would just be over on the side and play for a little taste of something. It smells so good. Gumbo.
Ooh, that's the one from
gumbo,
St. Louis.
Green,
I mean from
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, roots from Louisiana. But that hot water cornbread, child. Ooh, just thinking about it right now. And then also with my Meemaw, she was so ticklish, especially around her neck. I used to mess with her, even if I just got a little too close. Oh shit! We get too close to her neck. I used to always mess with her. She was so ticklish around the neck. But then now I'm also thinking about my maternal grandmother, my Granny Sherry, my grandmother that is still alive. Recently, when I went to travel to Alaska, it was my Granny Sherry, my aunties and my mom, and my cousin. And the only reason I ended up going on the trip because my mom told me, she was like, "Yeah, we're taking your granny to Alaska. That's somewhere that she was back in the day. We're taking her on the trip." And I was like, "Wait a minute, I want to go." And I was like, it was a great opportunity to one have a family trip.
Yeah.
But it was also I don't have a lot of memories with my Granny Sherry. So to be able to do that and to create memories now was something that I really, really, really cherish. It was a wonderful trip. Memories engraved forever. But just to have that experience and being able to travel with my grandmother and be able to spend time with her, because I didn't really grow up spending a lot of time with her. So to start to build a closer relationship with her, I'm very grateful for that. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And I'm glad I bombarded the trip. Yes, because you don't get memories like that all the time. You don't always gonna have opportunities like that. Tomorrow's never promised. You never know what's gonna happen. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I had to be able to even travel with my aunties. So it was my grandmother, her daughters, and then two of the oldest granddaughters. So just missing one of the oldest granddaughters, three of us. So yeah,
that's nice because a lot of people, especially your age, won't get or don't get to say that they got a chance to travel with their grandmother.
Right, let alone even grow up with them. Just that was a great experience.
This may be a tough question.
Okay.
What impact did your grandmother's passing have on you?
A very big one. Because it was like I knew she was going to pass away. It was like the decline in her health. We just didn't know when. So my goal was to have her see my name on TV. I was like, before my nana passed away, I'm gonna be on TV. She's gonna see created by something. My name is gonna be. She's gonna see my name on TV. But she passed away before I had an opportunity to do that. And for whatever reason, I felt like a complete failure. Because I felt like I didn't reach the goal before she passed. And I had to come to the realization, like, no, she's still with you. You can still do these things. She's going to see you accomplish multiple things. She's still going to see your name on TV. But I don't know why. It crushed me. And I put my whole project on hold. I was like, I can't finish it. She's not here anymore. And I felt like I was so close. And then on top of that, also knowing that her health was declining, that's the year she passed away for my birthday. The last time I saw her was on my birthday. And I wanted to go back for Mother's Day, but I couldn't afford it. But she had passed away right before Mother's Day anyway. And I'll never forget, I was on the phone with my dad. And he was telling me how he had just left from seeing her. He had just left from seeing her. And he was telling me how she just wasn't doing well. He put me on hold for a few minutes, clicked back over, and told me she was gone. And I just felt like, why couldn't I afford to go back? And I sat with that for a while. I was like, can't finish my project. I felt that going back that weekend so I could see her one last time. But I'm like, at least I got to see her for my birthday. Because I kept trying to figure out for the longest what I want to do for my birthday. What do I want to do? And I'm like, I'm going home. I want to go spend time with my nana. And that's what I did. But it was still great. I mean, all she wanted was some chicken wings and fries from KFC. She was like, these people ain't feeding. And my dad kept trying to tell me, he was like, no, she's being fed. She's just not eating. But you got to see it for yourself. So, but it really was true. She just she couldn't eat like she used to.
Yeah.
And that's how we knew, like, everything was just starting to decline. But I had to understand and grow through the fact that she was no longer here physically, but she was now here spiritually. Because I was definitely I had a closer relationship with my nana than I did with my Mima. But when my Mima passed away, I was 16. I was in high school. It affected me. But when my nana passed away, it was just a different kind of heartbreak. And I really struggled to get out of that dark place of just understanding how to continue to live my life without her being on earth. And there's still some days where, I miss her. The days are easier, definitely easier. That was 2018. But it's still hard. Like the grieving process it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. But I still remember when she passed away. I cried initially after my dad told me. I cried for a while. And then when I came home for the funeral, I think I was just so much in the mode of like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to help with this, I got to help with that. By the time I got home, I wasn't crying. It was like, gotta get the obituary. I want to write a poem. I'll have my sister read it. Whatever was left that needed help getting done, like I had the responsibility of making the entire obituary, putting the pictures in and organizing everything. And then organizing the tombstone and everything. It was all me. So I was just like, I went home and it was just like, it was just the responsibility portion, just making sure everything was okay. And I really didn't truly feel the effect of her death until I went to the wake. I was inconsolable. I don't think I ever cried like that in my life. Like I couldn't, my legs were completely gone beneath me. I didn't even make it all the way to her casket at the wake. As soon as I walked through the door, it's like all business had been taken care of. I released everything, every emotion I had in my body. Like, she was gone. She was gone. But I'm grateful that now I'm able to understand that she is always with me every single day. Every movement I make, every thought that I have, she's here every single day, guiding my steps, proud of me, smiling down on me. She is here.
You have me thinking about every step.
Absolutely. Like she is here. She is very much here, present every single day. And I know she's proud, and that's what helped to keep me going. Continuing to encourage me and have her hand on my shoulder, guiding me along the way. I can feel her presence every single day. In moments where I'm like listening to jazz, I'm like, oh yes, or I'm just listening to some oldies music. I'm like, oh, my nana would love this. Just creating moments where I feel connected to her. Back to taking pictures of flowers. Every time I see a flower, I think of her. Just having those small reminders every single day to, yes, it's okay to grieve, but it's okay to live too. You have to just keep living, just like she said, just keep living. Despite what may be going on or how you feel, because you stop, the world doesn't stop, and you have to find a way to keep going. So no, I'm not a failure. I did not fail her. Her death was inevitable. It was natural causes. It was meant to happen when it happened. And I'm definitely stronger now than I was then, just from that alone, growing through the grieving process.
Well, the grieving process never ends. I lost my first grandma when I was a preteen, maybe 11, 12 years old. And right before that, I had lost my great aunt, who was like the closest person to me at that time. She used to, this may sound crazy, but maybe it's one of those, if you know, like she used to lock me in her bedroom with her, and I would have sleepovers in her room. We would watch, what's Tamar's sister name? Toni Braxton DVD of like her music videos, and Tevin Campbell music videos, and just a whole bunch of stuff that my other cousins were jealous. Like, we were that tight. But I feel like at that age, it was kind of like a not understanding really what happens next. Like, what does this mean that this person is gone? But also, too, those are the only 2 times that I ever saw my mom cry, was at their funerals. And like, I want to be there for my mom, or I can't imagine losing my mom. Like, I've noticed when a lot of loss happen, I'm thinking about everyone else and not me. And since COVID, every year I lost a family member. It was my great grandfather, then my great grandma on another side, my mom's dad's mom. Then it was my dad's mother, and now Grandma Ida, my great grandma, maternal. And I remember when my dad's mom passed away, I didn't have money to travel there, Prices were crazy around that time, and then the train price was the same as the ticket flight, but more time. And I just opted not to go, and I just was like, I'll just work through it. The thing that was tough about that was I'm closer to my maternal side than my father's side. Um, I carried the patterns that my father carried, I'll say, which is I spent a lot of time with my mom and her family. My father, I was visiting him. I can remember maybe visiting him 3 times down in North Carolina, and those are the engagements that I had after that family moved to Jersey. And when she passed, I felt bad for Christy, who was my cousin. She was really close to her, like lived with her, spent mad time with her, talked to her on the phone every day. I felt bad for my maternal brothers. I'm saying that so you understand the story. That's not how I really talk. My paternal brothers, I think I said paternal, because I feel like everyone else was closer to her than I was. I feel like I didn't have the opportunity, even though I could have grown that as an adult or made that for myself. I never did. So my grieving of losing her was, I wish I would have known her. Like the tears that are coming out because of an opportunity that I didn't have to know this person as much as my brothers know her, or my father knows her, or Christy knows her. Like, it's just like, dang, that's like I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about grieving, is like, oh, I used to kick with this person every day, and this person was close. But there's another side. Like, I had a friend who wasn't as close to her dad, and she tried and tried to have a relationship with her dad. Like, I tried. I feel like right now I'm kind of giving up, but I tried to have a relationship with my father and everything. And she spoke about being at the funeral and people coming and saying that they're so sorry and stuff like that. And her grieving was different because it was these friends and coworkers and everybody else is like, he was such a great man, and this and that, or whatever. And I can't say that, even though that's my grandma, or that's my dad, or that's this person to me. I don't have that relationship. So I'm grieving something that I didn't have an opportunity to have while they were here. And then when my mom's dad's mom passed away, I felt that protective part coming back again. Like when my mom said that she passed, and I just held up all my strength. And then my mom was like, "Are you okay?" Automatic response, "Yeah, I'm okay." But then one day, it was a Monday, I was home by myself and working from home, probably because it was during COVID time. And I just felt myself crying, like boo-hoo crying. And I couldn't stop myself. And I was like feeling bad that I lied to my mom when she asked me how I was feeling. And that's where the poem, uh, can't remember the name of it, but when I say that I learned to cry on the side of my bed because my family said it was not okay to cry, my emotions show more than my words do now, but I was told all my life that I was sensitive, that I'm too sensitive, that I cry about everything. And even though the world said it's okay to be emotional and grieve for a certain time period when you lose somebody or if you feel a certain type of way, I would just say I'm okay, and I'm lying about it. And I just had to talk to myself, like, why didn't I allow myself to cry in those moments? Why did I hold it for weeks later? Like, things like that. So that was tough, dealing with the emotional part of it. It's like leaving myself to process it on my own until I felt safe enough to confide in my cousin and say it. Like, I know we weren't that close to her, but that still hit because we had a relationship with Grandma Ruth. And just like hearing that she passed and we can't even go to the funeral and anything like that, that was tough. What hit different was when Grandma Ida passed away. My great grandmother, who passed away May 2023. She was the oldest person in our family. I think her sister's older, but she's the oldest person in our family. She was the person who took care of us. I remember going to she was, I don't know if she was a TA or what, but I remember going to work with her one day. She worked at Madison Avenue School, and I was hanging out with her there. Cook oodles and noodles. I think she used to call it oodly noodlies. Like she would do that for us. Be at, like I said earlier, be at every graduation, every birthday party. Um, play with us, tell us the history of the family. Even stuff that my mom and my aunts never told us. And like, I'll go back to my mom and like, oh, this happened. She's like, who told you that? Your grandma told me that. No, no, whatever. Like she was just that source, that source of love, that source of information, that source of lessons, that source of family recipes, that source of everything. And I remember her youthfulness because my mom was a young mom and her mom was a young mom. So the grandma that I knew, I don't know how old she was, but she passed away when she was 80 something years old, 89 years old. Um, so I saw her like being able to walk on her own and cook on her own and go up and down the stairs on her own. She had like 3 floors, 9 people in the basement in her house. So I saw her going up and down and running around and doing everything. And throughout years, watched her become, I hate to use the word, but fragile, slower, not eat as much. Like you literally buy a little burger and French fries and a juice from Wendy's because she loved Wendy's, and she would never finish the whole thing. Like it's like why you not finishing? Like in Thanksgiving, she wouldn't really touch much or eat much. And I noticed for me that when I see people that I love become in that like state, and I didn't think it was sickness, because like if you ask her how you doing, I'm like, oh, I'm good, baby, I'm good. Um, I just knew she was getting old, and for the last 2 or 3 years, I was just like nervous to be around her because I just saw that she was like getting old, and my brain was just nervous of like just thinking sometimes I don't want to lose my grandmother. And one day I'm at work and my mom called me and said that she wasn't doing well. My brain at that moment, I was in the middle of typing my notes at work. I went into flight mode, ran straight to my director's office. I gotta go. It's a family emergency. I need to leave. It hit me that way. I think 2 reasons, because it's something about grandma, which I've never heard in my whole life that something's wrong with grandma. And then my memories that I was having, because just a few weeks ago I was with her for Mother's Day, and I gave her a little hug, but I still kind of stayed away because of what I just described, of just saying like she, I know that's grandma, but she looks so like different. And my mom, when she called, I don't remember the last time I heard my mom's voice sound like that. So I went to see a client real quick, and then I sped down the highway across the Gothels Bridge and to New Jersey, and to get to the hospital to say my final goodbyes to my grandmother. And it was tough to say goodbye because nobody wants to say goodbye to somebody that they're really close to or dear to. Like I always said, I hope that I go before anybody else that I love, because I don't want to. I mean, it's selfish, but I don't want to see see my life without the people I love in it. I wasn't the person who was 100% in charge of stuff. My aunt Evelyn was, um, but she entrusted her, my mom and her sister to help with stuff, which, because my mom had a vacation plan, kind of went to me and my brother to help too. I think I was like in a stage where I'm still like going with the flow of everything, going to work, taking calls, doing stuff, whatever, helping. But I noticed that my behaviors, at that time I was in a relationship, my behaviors in my relationship changed. So I was like, I would nitpick with him all the time, but I was nitpicking more with him not being able to label my frustrations or what I was going through as grieving. But I'm like punishing you because you're walking on the wrong side of the sidewalk, or you're not doing these things or whatever, because I'm hurting inside and I don't know. I feel like I'm talking to my cousin, I'm doing everything else, but I didn't know like it was coming from that, stemming from that. Excuse me. Um, so it's kind of the same thing, not like 100 responsibility, but when the funeral actually came, I feel like funerals put it into realization like that person is really gone. So my my grandfather, my great grandfather, my grandmother, my other great grandmother, I didn't get a chance to go to those funerals. So it didn't hit as hard and the closeness wasn't the same. But this one, I remember going to the funerals, setting the last stuff up, and then my mom was like, "Do you want to go see grandma?" And even just seeing the car, I forget what it's called, the Perry car outside, that was too much. So and then I saw her on the screen. I just went past and walked upstairs to go help my mom with whatever. And I was like, I just wait for Ronald. I just wait for Ronald to come. But then when Ronald came, we went. He was like, "All right, come on." Like he tried to stay strong and everything. And he got to the door and he was like, "No, I'm not doing it," and walked away. And I walked away too because my strong person was Ronald in that moment, and he couldn't do it. But we both did it at a time when we had to, when the family had to walk, and then we went it. It's just so. I don't know if this is a learned lesson, but it hurts to see, like to know. I can't even drive past her house anymore, and I want to push myself to do it. To one day just drive by, and one day just sit on the porch. But it hurts to know that she's not here in a human form. But then it's, I guess, soothing to know that whatever she was feeling, even though she said, "I'm okay, baby," she wasn't okay. Now I know she was like sick and like in pain and stuff. Um, but it's, I'm glad that she's not suffering or feeling what she was feeling anymore. And she lived a long life. She's touched so many lives. Like that funeral brought so many family members out. Family that I didn't even know I had a family member living in Canada. Like, oh, you moved to Canada? Like seeing so many of my cousins that I grew up with that I haven't seen in probably 15 years, probably more than that. So it was just the lives that she's touched, the influence, the impact that she had on everybody felt good to know. The lessons that she left with us, it felt good and instilled in me that family over everything. Family matters. We're here for each other. Like I said before, we don't see each other on the streets. If we need to get together, like to support each other, we're gonna do that before we reach out to anybody else. Um, family just strength, your backbone. Make time for people, whether they're near or far. The closest family members that I have in my life don't even live in the same state as me, but we text each other, we call each other when something's going on. You can hear it in the crack of the voice. Like somebody texted me the other day, I could tell just by the way that they texted me that something was off. First thing I said, "Hey, howdy, partner," but I called my mom because something felt off about that text. Like, "Hey, mom, are you okay? Oh, you got me? Okay." That calmed me down, and then we get on with this conversation. But you know, those people, it's just important to spend time because once they're gone, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm running out of tissue. That was my last
Kleenex.
Yes. So I think I kind of touched on this, but what role did your grandmother play in your family?
Um, hmm. I guess I want to say, especially in regards to my me mom, the backbone. Because with her, I was going to Sunday school. There was Sunday dinners. It was just a different aspect to having her around. And then after she left, things just kind of changed. It was like, who does this now?
It's a big role to bear, a big role to fill.
Yeah, because since my nana had MS, like my new mom was partially taking care of her. So like there was not, she wasn't doing the cooking, and a lot of people had to, we had to start doing our part, to keep basically in a way to keep the family together. Especially as my nana started to decline and as she started to get a lot weaker. I saw her go from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair, and then from her having a regular bed to a hospital bed in the house. Just my family, we all had a hand in just being there. Like, I remember my nana used to fall on the floor, trying to get to a phone, having to rush home from when I was in high school to help her, off the floor. Or so it got to a point where she would, she just stayed in the position that she was until somebody came home. Us bitching to make sure she ate, I think I also want to say, like, my nana, I want to say she was the heart of the family. Because I'm still trying to this day understand why her death hit me a lot deeper than my meemaws did. But I'm sure it has something to do with just the relationship and the bond that we had, and the experiences that I shared with her. But yeah, I could definitely describe my mom as the backbone, and my nana as the heart.
My Grandma Ida, was the pillar of our family, and she was the only pillar. She held everybody up. She held us all down. She was always there whenever she could be for everybody. Whether you know it or not, sometimes you might think your mom is paying for all this stuff when it's really grandma gave her some money to be able to pay for your prom or something like that. I don't know if that really happened, but for my situation, but I know that she did a lot of things for people. She would give me money and say, don't tell Christy, or don't tell this person that I gave you that. She was the sort, like I said earlier, the source of information, the matriarch of our family. Me and Ronald learned so many stories from her. And I'm glad that we were able to have those conversations with her, just learning about her history, where she came from. Like, she used to work for a Jewish family. She used to be basically like a stay-in nanny. She taught us about the community that we lived in at that time. So if you drive through some parts of the South Ward, the big houses there, and I was like, well, why is this big church right here? Why are these houses bigger than these houses? And she explained, like, the community that I lived in. She instilled a lot of value, and not just me, but everybody. She was the person that you could lean on. She's the person that you could watch One Life to Live in Jerry Springer with. She's the person that's gonna teach you how to cook oodles and noodles when you're young, and that's the first meal that you learn how to cook for yourself. To taking the extra turkey to make the from Thanksgiving to make the soup for the rest of the winter. She was the rock. And like you said earlier about your grandma, although she's gone, she's forever in our hearts, in our lives, in our spirits, because she left so many gems and so much life.
Yeah,
she's feisty. I saw her have so many fights. But yeah, she's the matriarch. She's everything, and I just hope that my family stays together. Because when I think matriarch, I think the glue of the family too, and I just hope that family doesn't get lost with her being lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know your answer.
Yeah. What's the question?
What's something you do now that reminds you of or helps you to feel close to your grandmother?
Oh, well, we all should know this by now. We've been listening, but
Pass the mic to the listeners. What's her answer, guys?
it's taking pictures of flowers. Like so much so that I turned them into cards. And named that card company after her, the Betty J Company. I gotta get back to it, but it's not lost. It's just on hold. But I was inspired so much by my story of how I got through my depressive stage and from darkness getting into the light again, but being the seed that was buried in darkness to bloom just like a flower. Like in the title of it, it's the inspired by a relationship between a grandmother and a granddaughter. Like one of the things that kept us connected while I was away was through cards. Her sending me birthday cards. Putting a little some inside. And just yeah, it's definitely the flower aspect, but also like passing that on to others, like just getting you through anything, just knowing that you can bloom through this. It doesn't, everybody goes through dark time, but there's always light. There's always light on the other side. You just need to nurture yourself and water yourself and get through what you're going through in order to get to into the next chapter. So definitely going to get back to it at some point. But I mean, she's even the inspiration behind my my other podcast. Just a reminder of like you can't stay down. Because I wanted a way to reach people that were feeling the way that I felt and needed a way to get themselves back to them, find a way back to you, find a way,
your way back.
find a way to be inspired through affirmations and loving on yourself. So yeah, she's a consistent inspiration. Even though she's not here physically, I always know when an idea comes from her. I promise I can feel when she is speaking to me. It's the craziest thing ever. And also jazz music. I remember when I first discovered jazz music, helped me feel connected to her. I don't know why or how. Me and my nana have never listened to jazz music together, but I felt the connection to her after she had passed away, and I started listening to jazz music to help me fall asleep because I had insomnia after she had passed away. So yeah, those are the ways that I continue to stay connected to her. Just talking to her, literally, like the same as you do, just talking. I know she hear me. I know she hear me right now. She probably laughing right now. She's proud.
Yeah. So that's my first thing, is just speaking with her, speaking with them, meaning Grandma Ida, Grandma Barbara, and Auntie Pookie. Yes, I have Auntie Pookie. I speak with them. Aside from that, right now it's just like memories. Like when things happen, it just certain things happen. It triggers a specific memory. So for my Aunt Pookie, I know we're talking about grandparents, but I want to just highlight her too. When I hear certain Toni Braxton songs, remember when I said she used to lock me in a room, we would watch things together. I'll think about her. If I see a Macy's store, I'll think about her too. She passed away when I was really young, so those are the like major memories that I have with her, like stuff that spark. When it comes to my grandma Barbara, remember earlier I said whenever the ice cream truck will come by, we'll run upstairs and she'll give us $1.25 to get the ice cream. So don't really frequently hear ice cream trucks, but when I do, it triggers me back to little Yaya running up the steps to my grandmother. And regarding my grandma Ida, now more so than before, with the trips that we've been paying for lately, I hear her voice saying, "Go, go, baby, go, just go." And even like with career-wise, I've been feeling stagnant for the longest time. So just like, what is it now? 3 months after she passed away, I know she's proud to see that I got promoted at my job and I'm going for it. or that I'm going on trips and doing stuff, and I know I'm doing it for me, but I feel like I'm doing it for her too. One thing that I want to pick up is having me time on her porch. Just like, not everybody's fortunate to be able to have a family house to go back to. I hope I don't start with my family that still lives there. But I would just love to just every now and then just go over there and spend a couple minutes or an hour just sitting there, whether it's reading a book or whatever, just a way to connect with my grandmothers who lived there. And my uncle, he lived there too. All three of them lived in that house. So
yeah. I know one way that me and my sisters definitely stayed connected after my nana passed away was when we were going through her stuff, just the things that we wanted to keep to remind us of her.
yeah.
Like I have a blazer of hers, and it was so funny when I first got that blazer. It still had a pack of Big Red gum in it. That was her.
Oh my God.
That was her. I left it in the pocket. It's still in there. I left the packet of Big Red gum in the pocket of that blazer. It's still in there. So like just some of her clothing that we've kept. My Meemaw's church hats. We don't know what to do with them, but we don't want to get rid of them. So, yeah, just some things that we hold on to that just exemplifies like who they were. Yeah. Just holding on to those memories.
When my grandmother passed away, we went through her stuff. My grandmother, not great grandmother. And I got to keep some jewelry of hers. And some of it I'm learning that my mom bought it for her, but it still meant something. Because some stuff I get confused. Did this come from my mom? Like, my mom gave me this, or my grandma? But some stuff I know for sure came from her. So when I adorn my fingers with her rings, or I changed my charm on my necklace, that was hers. I feel like I'm connecting to her.
Yeah. Finding like old pictures. I remember specifically when I was going through something, I found a note that a reminder that she wrote for herself the day that it was gonna be my first day of kindergarten. I found that note, and a classic picture of her that I had never seen before. It's one of my favorite pictures. It's also with my pictures, the postcards I found from New York.
You ever saw a picture of your grandma and be like, oh, she was a baddie.
I sure did. Yeah. When I was making that obituary, I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. Right.
I think my dad said one of her nicknames was Mustang Sally. She had a big afro. I was like, what? Okay.
Yes, it's cool to see pictures of them in their younger days, like pictures of my grandma when she was about to go clubbing or partying with her sisters, and pictures of them sitting in the kitchen when my brother was a baby, or like people that are older than me when they were like in the stroller and stuff like that, and like they looked mad cool, like they were like cool girls back in the day. I had a picture of my mom because, like you said, it seems like that's a time where families go through pictures.
Yeah,
I went through pictures for my just to connect with my grandmother, and I told my mom I was gonna wait, but I was like, I can't wait. Sorry, mom. I was sending pictures to everybody, but I came across a picture of my mom too, and I was like, oh, you was hot, mom. And I had it for my screensaver for a while, but yeah. Speaking of phones. Let me get my phone. I think that's the last question.
I think so.
Yeah, that's it for our hot topic segment. I really appreciate us having this conversation, shedding tears, shedding light. For those of you who do have your grandmother still in your lives, appreciate the time.
Yes, absolutely.
While we could say their time is limited, so is ours. Some people pass away, watch their children pass away. Like my grandmother, my great grandmother, she had a lot of kids. Probably 7 or 8, something like that. But she buried a lot of her kids. So they passed away before their mom passed away. You never know. Life is not promised. The only thing guaranteed is death, which is not a bad thing. Like there's so much like I hope that we shed light on there's so much that could come, so much positivity, which is memories, which are lessons learned, which are gems, which is time that we get to share with the people who are in our lives. So make time for that. Even if they're deceased now, make time for that. If you believe in that, if you're a spiritual person, connect with them. Tap into the things that they taught you. Take that trip. Take those pictures of the flowers. Sit with yourself. Have some me time. Don't work too hard and not have fun. Like all these things that they poured into you. If you're a grandparent, pour into your grandchildren. Make that time to set memories. I know we're all tired, but like even when I know it's about grandparents, but when Boo Boo passed away, even when my grandmother passed away, I wish I had spent more time. So thanks for listening, guys.
And then you can't get back his time.
Right. So we're gonna move on to our next segment, which is
our dorm story segment. Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? In today's dorm story segment, we are continuing with a personal story from SimplyBeInspiration.com with the story about grandmother's love.
It's not our personal story.
It's not our personal story. It's from the website that I thought it would be great to share here. All right, hold on. My phone don't want me to be great because I want me to. Here it is. All right. But without further ado, here we go. This short and sweet moment was inspired by a simple conversation I had with my mother while on the way to our local zoo this morning. Our conversation had somewhere taken an interesting turn into coveting what others have. Life doesn't always go exactly how we plan, and taking the detour can really suck. During those difficult moments, the grass might just appear brighter over in our neighbor, family member, or best friend's yard. That's where coveting comes into play. Towards the end of our conversation, my mom spoke up and said, I just always love what grandma used to say. Now, in this particular case, grandma means her mother and my grandmother. My grandma wasn't a perfect lady by any means, but she had a great big heart and a beautiful sense of humor. I recall her getting such joy out of the most ridiculous, corny jokes I had ever heard in my life. Her laugh was contagious, but so was her kindness. She couldn't stand to see people suffering or doing without. What makes this even more amazing is that Grandma's life wasn't exactly a glorious one. She lost her husband way too soon, suffered from many health issues, and lived in a house she couldn't take care of. Grandma was in need, yet she always went out of her way to help someone else. With all that said, there was the occasion when Grandma would see the brighter grass on the horizon, grass that wasn't hers. Her house wasn't in the best shape, and I recall the many car rides we took through nicer neighborhoods. Grandma would scan the houses, then all of a sudden out came her wrinkled and bent pointer finger. She tapped on the window saying, I wish I had that house, and they had something better. Grandma wanted better things from time to time, but she only wanted them if the people who had them already could get something nicer. So, as I sit here in my kitchen after an afternoon of errands and grocery shopping, my mind is on my sweet grandma and the simple lessons she taught me without even knowing it. We live in such a fast-paced world, a world where we want the golden egg, and we want it now. Thinking about those sweet moments with my grandma just reminds me of how important it is to be content in our current situation. Grandmas are only a part of our lives for so long. Both mine have been gone for some time, and today my kids are building similar heartfelt memories with my own mom, a blessing I am incredibly thankful for.
That story, like certain things in it is so, can't say relatable, but I can see it like in my own family. The first thing that stood out was when she said, well, in this sense, grandma is my grandmother and my mom's mom. That made me think of my mom. She's still to this day keep calling people Auntie Venus or Uncle Earl. It's like, that's not your auntie and uncle. That's my auntie. You get, Mom, I'm older now. I know who it's who. You can just say, I'm going to see, my mom. I'm going to see Earl. I'm like, I know who these people are. So that was funny to me. I've never knew that other people or other families did that too. The thing about basically selflessness. My grandmother, I guess, people know people differently. So I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for any other family members or people who may be listening. But the way I knew my grandmother was, she really wouldn't ask for help from people. And now as I'm saying something like that, kind of sound like me, but she wouldn't really ask for help from people. Even though people would like say, because you mentioned the house thing, let me help you with your house, or can I buy your house from you, or let us help clean out your house, let us paint, let us and she would just deny or refuse being helped by anybody. Or if you want to say give her something, oh, I'll take a little bit, kind of like that. Yeah, I don't know her to have asked for much from people. She was just like from my memory, my experience, a kind, giving, nurturing, loving, funny person. I don't have children right now, but I witnessed as the grandchild how a grandmother is more giving to the grandchild than their own kids. And I'm not sure if it's because in that space they had more to give at that time, or it's like, well, this person, you're not my priority, but I want to give, because I'm not the person that's feeding you, housing you, clothing you, but I could pay for that extra toy that you're asking for because your mom can't get it or your daddy can't get it, or like I can take you to Chuck E. Cheese on this one day, and it's a highlight for that kid because food, clothes, housing, school are not highlights. That's just something that they do every day. But that Chuck E. Cheese visit with grandma, that ice cream that mom couldn't buy for you, or whatever it is, that book bag that you really wanted, but mom got you the one from ShopRite. Like, but grandma got you the North Face one. Oh, grandma, so cool because she got me that. But grandma couldn't do that for her kids. Like, I would hear my mom talk about things that, that she, even as a mom for us too, that she didn't have as a kid or couldn't have as a kid, and we were able to have, but then more times over because I had a grandma to do it too. And then I'm watching my mom as a grandmother love on her grandkids, and I'd be like, Mom, bro, you bought 5 gifts already for this was when Jordan was the only kid, so now she got 3 grandkids, and she still like she'll buy stuff over weeks, and then she's like, oh, I just got this for now. No, Mom, you got 5 other things. Like, I'm sure their parents don't want all these toys at their house, but I need toys at my house too, and they want this. And it's like, that lady, you will go broke for your grandkid. And then I hear my aunt talk about her grandkids in that same way. Like they want to be able to show this love to them. And I've heard my clients talk about that too. Like, also being a median, for the family, that the grandkids kind of build that tie between parent and their own child for families. But just the connectedness, I hope maybe one day I'll have kids and be able to witness it firsthand, like me as a parent, and then my kids being close to my mom, having that relationship. Prayerfully, I get the opportunity while my mom is still here on the earth. But yeah, like, just it's a lot of things. I skipped some that was shared in that story that just made me think about my own grandmother.
The main thing that stood out for me was lessons being taught without her even knowing it. Like, she never went into detail when she gave me these little quotes. Like, she never told me what it meant to just keep living. She just always said it, and I'm like, okay. I would just don't feel like it's just something to say.
Yeah.
Or like when my
like, I'm reading grandma.
Or I used to ask my Mima how she was doing. She'd be like, I'm kicking, but not high. Like,
I was about to ask you, what was the one that you always said that your other grandma said?
Kicking, but not high. Like, she's still pressing forward. She's still moving. And it always brings me back to an understanding of her telling me things, but me figuring it out on my own. Like as a child, I'm not understanding what she means by these things. That's just something my grandma says all the time.
Mhm.
But now as an adult, it's like she said that all the time with reason, with purpose, with an understanding that one day I will get it.
Yeah.
Especially with the work hard, but not too hard. Like just remembering to make time for little things, making time for myself, for the self-care, for the traveling, like to not work myself down to the bone. Like I'm not working. I mean, I'm not living to work. I'm working so that I can live.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she wanted for me and my sisters. Just always constantly giving that lesson. But I love that she was able to do it with so much grace without ever having to explain what it meant.
And I'm glad for you that she left it for you to fill out too, because if she would have, like, it's just making me think of life's lessons too. If they did everything for us, what is left to learn? How are you going to be able to be this strong person to get through life when they're not here anymore? So I'm glad that you were able to pick up the lessons and do it for yourself, and they didn't tell you every single thing, because you have to learn how to problem solve for yourself.
Right. So
that's a lesson too.
Right, a lesson in itself. I'm just gonna keep telling myself, just keep living. Why I gotta just keep living? They're gonna be like, Miss Loud, she not making sense.
Live, baby.
Keep living. Just keep living. Keep doing your best. Keep loving on yourself. Continue pressing forward, even when you don't know how. Like there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Even when we're buried in that darkness, we can always bloom back out to the light. Right. There's just so many different aspects of things that my grandmother taught me and continues to teach me on a daily basis that I'm very, very grateful for. And I can even see through, like, similar to you with your mom, like seeing how my mom pours into my nephew, like just seeing her have that relationship with my nephew, and I'm like, I can't wait to see how she act when I finally decide to pop out 1 or 2. Just be like, how you gonna allow that to happen? You would never, ever, really, having the grandchildren going to the rescue of the grandparents, and the grandparents telling us to chill out. Yeah. Like, excuse me,
my child.
So, because I know there's been many a times I've definitely gone to my nana to be like, hey, my mother or my father, they tripping, help, please. Leave that child alone. Leave that girl alone. She ain't doing nothing. So, but yeah, truly miss and always loved. Still in the presence everywhere. So
yes. Thank you, Grandma.
Yes, but that was dorm stories. We hope that you enjoyed. Hope that some things are resonating with you all. And before we go, we are going to head over into the community news. Boom.
Ciao, ciao.
It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. I'm so glad we made it to the end, or able to smile by the end, because I knew that I would be emotional during this episode, but I don't think I expected to be as emotional as I was.
I didn't.
Because grandma's a sensitive topic for me, all right? It is for a lot of people. But I just didn't expect it to flow the way that it did. If y'all got into the motions of the oceans and the tears flowed for y'all too, grateful for you being a part of the experience.
That you had enough tissue, more tissue than we did.
Right.
My little tissue.
Right. We needed some Kleenex sponsorship. Right. Some makeup sponge.
I love it.
Okay, to soak up the water. Anywho, so first on our list for our announcements for today, it is officially October, and it is National Book Month, which means be on the lookout. We're gonna have some sales here and there for our books on the website for the poetry book, as well as our self-love journal.
Read a book.
Yes, it is National Book Month, as well as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Shout out to the therapist.
Yes, shout out to the therapist. So yes, also be on the lookout for some things on our page. We're going to be putting up some information for some information that will help during this time for anyone that may be going through or know someone going through ADD type situation.
Yes. Y'all, was it last episode or the episode before that?
I don't know.
About friends.
The last episode.
Last episode, y'all, we talked about friends. Different types of
many of us have them?
Friends. So, during this month, I don't know why I'm talking with my hands so much, but for y'all who aren't even watching, that doesn't even matter, right? So, the question of this month is, how do you make new friends? Drake had a song that said, no new friends, no new friends, no new friends, no. But after I hit a certain age, I started making new friends.
Right.
This is cool. I like you. We vibing, we chilling. You my friend. Let's hang out.
Yes.
Yes. So, how do you go about making new friends? Is it through social media? Do you use social? What is it? They have dating apps where you go and meet.
Yes,
friends.
Bumble has a friend section. That's not what I want to say.
I was trying not to say their names, say the names of the companies, but yes, some dating apps have the BFF feature or friend feature that you can use. Do you meet friends through friends? And we could all be friends.
Hey,
friends. So let us know. We're going to be posting that on our Instagram page, and you can leave a comment below, or you can leave a comment down on this Spotify, however you're watching YouTube, down in the comment section.
Let us know. And because this is the last episode of the season, we have a few important dates that we want to give you because it's not going to be an announcement segment for a while.
Right.
So, listen up to these important dates for the month of October. First up, on the 10th, we have World Mental Health Day. Then on the 17th, we have Black Poetry Day. Make sure you're looking out for a sale that's going to be happening. Shout out to all the Black poets out there.
Yes.
Black writers. All right. Then on the 19th, we have National New Friends Day. Hint, hint for the question of the month. National New Friends Day. Maybe you can do something with a new friend that day. Okay. And then on the 20th, it is National Day of Writing. We're definitely going to put up a writing prompt to get those creative ideas flowing. So always stay tuned in on our Instagram page, and we give you the most updates on what's happening, sharing question of the month and sales and things of that nature. So stay on the lookout. Those dates, y'all. 10th, 17th, 19th, and the 20th.
Yes. And with that, that's the conclusion of our community. I'm pointing at my sweater like I got one.
Right. It's a conclusion of the community news.
Community
of
news segment. And with that, I want to say, I love you. You love me. We are friends like friends should be. With a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Thanks for tuning in to Truth Carpet Boo. We love you. This is not a goodbye for forever, but if you've been rocking with us for the last few seasons, you know that around this time every year we conclude our season and we pick up back in February-ish.
Yeah.
February to March area or time period. So thank you. And if you're new to the podcast, you have so many episodes to catch up on.
Right.
So catch up, stay tuned, enjoy your holidays, enjoy everything. Don't forget the lessons that we brought up this at the beginning of this episode, which was to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Eat, sleep.
Yes.
Drink water.
Tell your family you love them, spend time with them. Yes.
All that.
Go hug your grandma.
All that.
Speak to your grandma. Go
All
visit
that.
your grandma.
Text your friends. All
Yes.
that. All that.
And
All
then
that.
this is it.
We so black. We so black.
This is it. Till 2024.
Yes.
Oh my God.
God willing, we make it.
We will.
So thank you, y'all, and we will still follow us on Instagram.
Yes,
Our
please.
page is Love Live with 2 D's LLC on Instagram. Follow our Instagram, and we will be posting our sale information, some fun stuff of us having fun, living life, all that stuff. So there's just a break for Truth Carpet, our podcast.
Yeah,
You'll
everything
still
else
see us still rolling.
And if
Everything else still rolling.
you catching up on episodes, leave us a voice review.
Yes.
Don't forget. All you gotta do is click the link in our bio, select Truth Carpet, scroll down, hit record a message, you record, and then you hit send, and then we will hear it, and we can't wait to have all of the voice reviews in the next season of our podcast. So y'all got a while. We want y'all to rack up all these reviews.
Yes.
Please and thank you.
I'm having a hard time saying bye. You know the song? Never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. But yeah, y'all, I'm just gonna say it because we just sitting here.
We can't linger too long. And my wine is gone.
My wine is gone too.
All right, well, I mean, it's really time to go.
Stay black.
Stay proud. Until next time. Bye.